It's never been a better time to be a wrestling fan. So many options, so much variety, and much easier ways to watch it. If you don't like what the WWE is doing, and quite frankly, how could you? You have a whole other wrestling show on a whole other cable channel in the form of AEW Dynamite and Rampage. Not to mention smaller shows like Impact, MLW, and ROH coming back soon. And if you need some international flair, it's never been easier to watch wrestling from Japan, Mexico, and the UK. Not to mention all your local indie feds, who post a few clips on YouTube and wonder why numbers aren't better. But back in the day, specifically in the early 2000s, it was a little harder. ECW and WCW were either dead or dying, eventually being absorbed by the WWF and dominating the sports entertainment space for years to come. Sure, there were other promotions and even international stuff, but they were much harder to watch. But wrestling was still white hot, so people did what they had to do to get content out to capitalize.
Now available to rent or own, 5 new titles from WWF Home Video.
VHS was a big dumping ground for cheap cash grabs, as documented in the popular YouTube series Best of the Worst. And the video we're looking at today is, I think, the worst example of this in regards to pro wrestling. This is Backyard Raw. Backyard wrestling is a strange genre of wrestling, lower than even the most indie of indie feds that do shows in bingo halls or even state fairs. As the name suggests, these events just take place in some dude's backyard, and while even local indie feds will want at least some basic training before they let somebody wrestle, most backyard wrestlers just learn by watching WWF and ECW tapes and copying what they saw. There is a lot of connection between backyard wrestling and wrestling in the modern day, with some big-name stars in the wrestling world having ties to it, including CM Punk, the Hardy Boys, and Mick Foley.
That looks like fun. I mean, that's no different than kids going out and playing tackle football when they really should be playing touch football. Should the kids be hitting each other with garbage cans? Probably not, but they all look like they're friends. I don't think they're doing anything out of anger. I wasn't so crazy about the light bulbs to the head.
Foley is pro wrestling's top daredevil. In fact, it was his jump off a roof as a teenager that led to his professional career. So he understands the thrill, but he worries that some kids are taking on more risk than they realize.
The difference is, when I jumped, the guy moved out of the way. I wasn't putting someone else's life in jeopardy. I don't even do that in our ring in front of millions of people on TV.
Backyard wrestling got to be such a big thing that was one of the major reasons why WWE had to start putting "don't try this at home" messages at the start of the programs. A lot of times you would see wrestling tapes being made to highlight the best wrestling, whether it be WWF and WCW VHS tapes, which I am a collector of, that work to promote the product, or there would be bootleg tapes that would be traded from fan to fan to spread wrestling from Japan and Mexico. A practice used to highlight and expand people's knowledge about how good the product could be, as well as underground names, what certain moves are called, things like that. This is not one of those tapes. This is more like a mix of America's Funniest Home Videos and those trashy sports blooper videos. The tape seems to be a collection of videos sent in from various backyard wrestling feds to appear on this tape. Or possibly the company made the tape owns the feds? I doubt it though. I assume this was some sort of scam where whoever put together this tape put a call out for footage and they just lied about what it was going to be used for. Why do I say that? Well, let's take a look at our host.
I am Dr. Moses Grimm, professional wrestler extraordinaire. I love backyard wrestlers. I love to watch their pain. I love to feel their pain. Backyard Raw has assembled the most insane video footage from around the world, so you too can feel their pain if you think you can take it.
I know nothing about this tape, but I can only assume the host is also the creator of the tape. He gives off real scumbag indie booker vibes, as well as failed indie wrestler vibes, which in a lot of the ways is the same vibes. He's also joined by two women who pop up periodically to wear bikinis and do other softcore lewd things. We'll be skipping any footage of them because I would like to have this video monetized. Also, they just show up topless out of nowhere a few times, no warning or setup, just cut to them with no tops on. Just the perfect addition to make this video extra skeezy. The video consists of what looks like different matches from around the world. Scotland, England, Canada, Idaho. Big wrestling scene in Idaho. Instead of showing full matches, however, this tape opts to just cut them into clips that they can splice in randomly, sometimes reusing the same clips. All the while, it just keeps cutting back to the girls dancing, hosing each other off, or wrestling in the mud in someone's backyard. And again, not showing that here. I'll be uploading the tape to an archive, which I will link in the description. Since the tape cuts up all these matches, we really don't get an opportunity to really know what's going on. Not that anything would be gained by seeing all these matches in full, but it would feel a little less chaotic, maybe? I can't really say who this tape is targeted at. I want to say wrestling fans, but the tape seems to go out of its way to mock and call the wrestlers on the tape stupid. But even so, a teen wrestling fan in 2001 could get a lot out of this tape. Stupid people doing stupid wrestling moves and hot ladies before the internet was a big thing. Despite the jumbled mess of a tape, you still notice some familiar faces. One that comes up the most is a group of kids in one of the few places that actually looks like a backyard in the video, with an actual porch, which comes into play a lot in the footage. This is the most backyard since there is no actual ring. Not even a poorly built one like we see in the other footage. Just a bunch of kids doing stupid things to each other. There's even footage of them in the snow, which makes it so much worse. They even have a kid dressed up in some weird gimmick, which is only going to make things so much worse and so much more dangerous, since he clearly can't see. They also love showing this kid botch the hell out of this dive. It's not even that they repeat it, he goes for it again and botches in the exact same way. We also see a location that appears to be in a barn somewhere, or some sort of corn maze, possibly something that was happening just off screen in Dwight Schrute's hay place.
Don't forget to make a broom.
Oh, the petting zoo closes at 2, and the goat roast is at 3.
I say that because later on we see what appears to be literal children having a match at one point, in the smallest, crappiest ring I've ever seen. Much like a sports bloopers tape, this also splits the clips into categories, including the most scary ones involving fire.
Someone call 911. You won't believe what happens next.
Which includes some idiots just straight pouring lighter fluid on his shirt and just lighting it on fire for some reason. And this really complicated and stupid burning cross bit.
Sucker.
We also see a section highlighting concussion-causing hits, which included some really scary chair shots. I cannot stress how messed up it is to see kids taking and giving chair shots, considering when this tape was first released was only a few years before Chris Benoit would commit a murder-suicide on his family and change the face of wrestling forever. Although some groups at least seem to understand some things to stay relatively safe. While it's still incredibly stupid to perform a tombstone pile driver onto a steel chair, he did seem to do everything he could to protect his opponent. There are also some moves that look pretty dangerous at first, but are actually safer than you think. Still dangerous for an amateur, but Cloak Dude basically just did a somersault. although they do stupidly slam each other onto pre-cut wood, which seems safer, but is much more painful, although that may just be because of the lack of resources and they're just reusing things that they already put people through. And despite how dangerous this crap is, there is very little blood. Really just this one dude from the porch crowd. This tape is a double one, so it's 2 hours of the same matches all cut up, spliced of course with both scantily clad and naked ladies. It's the kind of cheap, lazy cash grab you would expect from a VHS from this era. But while it does get boring at points, it does find a way to mix things up to keep you interested in the same way as a car crash or a cringe compilation.
Hello, it's concussion time.
There's a reason why you can't get this anymore, and I was lucky to come across it while I was looking for WWF and WCW tapes for my collection. I would suggest checking it out using the archive link in the description just for the curiosity's sake, but like the tape says, don't try this at home. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more, as I'll be making a better effort to create more videos and be more consistent in 2023. Until next time, this is The One Nerd, and I hope your day goes well.
Babes of the century.
For some of our favorite positions. Let's see that in slow motion.